بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, my dear students, in today's lesson. But what are we going to do in this lesson? Let's take a look. So we are done with units 1, 2, 3, and 4. In today's lesson, we are going to have expansion or language review. That means today's lesson is going to be like a summary of the things that we took in unit 1, 2, 3, and 4. But before we go to this lesson, let's take a look at the previous homework. What were you asked to do and what did you do about it? So you were asked to write about your likes and dislikes, use gerunds and infinitives. So you were asked to complete these two sentences. The first one starts with, I spend my free time, and you can complete it with whatever you want. And the second one was, I recommend, and you can recommend whatever you like. So let's take a look at this example here. The first one, I spend my free time watching TV. Watching TV. Look, we have the word watch, verb plus ing, TV. So here it's acting like it's an object for this sentence. Now, what about the next one? I recommend eating healthy food. Eating. We have the word eat plus ing. Here it's acting like an object too in this sentence. I recommend eating healthy food. Now, what are we going to do in this lesson? So, by the end of this lesson, you will be able to use the simple present tense, and we are going to form sentences with know how to. Do you remember when we talked about the skills? I know how to, and you can write the skill you know. So let's take a look. So before we start and take a look at the examples we have here, let's review the simple present tense. So we have affirmative and we have negative. So what is the difference between these two? Affirmative, we have the verb plus s or the verb itself. But when are we going to add the s and when are we not going to add anything to the verb? So for the negative form, we have don't or doesn't plus the verb. And here we are going to see when are we going to add the s to the verb and when are we going to add nothing to the verb. So the first case here, the affirmative, we have subject, verb, and the rest of the sentence like this. The subject, I, you, we, they, he, she. So here we have with I, you, we, and they. Let's take a look at their verbs. I work in the hospital. I work in the hospital. We didn't add s here to this verb because every time we see this plural, plural, they, we, you, or I, we are not going to add s to the verb. But with the case of he and she, we are going to add s to the verb. Let's take a look at this example. He lives in Jeddah. She writes stories. Here we have the verbs works, lives, writes. We have s at the end of the verb. But for the negative form, where are we going to add the word don't or doesn't? We are adding it after the subject, before the verb. Like this. Here we have the subjects, and after the subject we have don't. Like this. I don't work in the hospital. I don't work in the hospital. But how about in the case of he and she? Before we added s to the verb. Here we are adding s here with the word doesn't. So we're not going to add s with the verb here. We're going to add it here in the negative form. He doesn't work in Jeddah. Or she doesn't write stories. Now, let's take a look at examples. Do you remember when we talked about jobs? Let's take a look here. I want you to write what the people in these jobs do. Here we have an example. A teacher teaches. Teaches. A teacher, this is the name of the job. So what does the teacher do? Teaches. Here we have s. It's the verb plus the s. This is what the teacher is doing. Now, how about these words? Let's take a look at the first one. A driver. A driver. So what does he do? Drives a car or a bus. A driver drives. Here we have S with the verb. Drives a car or a bus. Now, how about translator? Translator. Translates text into another language. Translates. We are adding S to the thing that he's doing. How about a manager? A manager. Manages a store. Manages a store. We just added S here to the verb. How about a writer? What does writers do? A writer writes books or magazine articles. So here we have the names of the jobs, and this is what they do. Now, how about the other ones here? We have a student, salesperson, a reporter, and a nurse. So here, let's start with a student. A student studies in school or college. Studies. Here we add S. Do you see? Now, how about a salesperson? A salesperson sells things to customers. Sells things to customers. Here we added S to the verb sell. The salesperson, he's selling the things. So we're adding S to the verb sell. So how about a reporter? A reporter. A reporter reports the news for TV, radio, newspaper, and the internet. Now that we're done with the reporter, how about a nurse? Nurse. What can the nurse do? A nurse takes care of sick people. A nurse takes care of sick people in the hospital. Now, so let's take a look here. Rewrite these sentences. But what are you going to do? You're going to change can or can't to know how to or don't know how to. I have examples here for you, so we can do the rest. Try to do the rest. Here we have, I can swim very well. Look at the person here in the picture. This person can swim, something they know how to do. So, I can swim very well. Let's change this word, the word can. Every time you see can or can't, you're going to change it here in the sentence. I can swim very well. So, if we're changing it and replacing it with these, it's going to be, I know how to swim very well. I know how to swim very well. We just changed this, the word can into know how to. Why? Because this is a skill. If you can, then you are going to write know how to. If you can't, you will write don't know how to. Let's take a look at this one. I can't swim at all. I can't swim. I don't know how to swim. So, what is going to be like? I don't know how to swim very well. I don't know. We added the word don't after the subject, but before the verb know. Now, it's your turn. Let's take a look at the examples and think about it before we change the words can. So, here we have, I can speak Spanish. I can speak Spanish. So, we are changing can into what? Know how to. The sentence is going to look like this. I know how to speak Spanish. I know how to speak Spanish. It's a thing I can do. How about this one? The student can't type. The student can't type. So what are we going to do? We're replacing can't with don't know how to. The sentence is going to look like this. That student doesn't know how to type. That student doesn't know how to type. So we just replaced this. So this is a skill the student doesn't have. Now, how about the next one? Rifa can make her own clothes. So what are we going to do? we're changing the word can, into what? Know how to or don't know how to. But here, because we have the word can, that means she know how to. So here, the sentence is going to look like this. Rafa knows how to make her own clothes. She knows. We added S here to the verb know. I know. So because here we have the pronoun for Rafa, it's she. She knows how to make her own clothes. Let's take a look at the next one. Farah can cook delicious Indian food. So this is a skill she has. So what are we going to do? We're replacing can. How is the sentence going to look like? Like this. Farah knows how to cook delicious Indian food. Knows. We added S here to the verb know. Farah knows how to cook. So this is a skill that Farah has. How about the next one? Most of my friends can't play chess. What is chess? Chess is a kind of board game. You can see it here in the picture. This game is called chess. So the example here, most of my friends can't play chess. So we're replacing the word can't with know how to or don't know how to. The sentence is going to look like this. Most of my friends don't know how to play chess. We have don't because most of my friends, it's plural. Most of my friends don't know how to play chess. This is a skill they don't have. Now, let's take a look at this picture. So look at the pictures because we are going to answer questions about these pictures. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pictures. Look at the first picture. What do you see here? What is this man's job? This is a policeman. He's wearing a uniform, and this picture is taken of the policeman doing his job. How about this boy? Take a look at this picture. The boy is holding something we eat in summer. What is this? This is ice cream. And look, the boy is waiting here and looks like he just got this ice cream from here. How about the next picture? Look, the man and the woman are trying to get into what? This cab or taxi. And the next picture, what do you see here? There's a man putting on his backpack and he's reading something. What do we call this? This is a map. So it looks like this man is a tourist. He's reading a map for directions. What about this boy? What is he doing in this picture? He's playing something. So he's skateboarding. So this could be a pastime activity, right? Skateboarding. Now, how about the last picture of this businessman? What is he doing? He's calling someone with his phone. Now, it's time to look one more time at the pictures so we can take a look at the questions and try to answer. So, the questions are going to look like this. From the pictures, we're going to answer this question. So, here I have an example for you. So, is the police officer wearing jeans? It's a yes-no question. Is he wearing jeans? The answer is no, he isn't. He's wearing a uniform. No, he isn't. He's wearing a uniform. Now, how about the next question? Is the young man buying a burger? From the pictures, no, he isn't. He's buying ice cream. No, he isn't. He's buying ice cream. How about the next question here? Are the man and the woman taking a bus? Was the vehicle in the picture a bus? No, they aren't. They're taking a taxi. No, they aren't. They're taking a taxi. How about the next question here? Is the boy riding a bike? The pastime activity I showed you before. The picture of the boy. Was he riding a bike? No, he isn't. He's skateboarding. He's skateboarding. How about the next picture? The next question. Is the tourist reading a book? Is the tourist reading a book? No, he isn't. He's looking at a map. He's looking at a map for directions. Now, how about the next question here? Is the businessman sending an email? So his phone was looking like this. So, was he sending an email? No, he isn't. He's talking on the phone. He's talking in the phone. Now, after answering these questions, let's take a look. What do we have next here? We want you to complete the conversation, then practice with a partner. Or let's start with completing the conversation here. We have a conversation between two boys, Fahad and Tom. But what are we going to write for these spaces? Here we have a hint. So we are going to write something related to this word in the parentheses. So let's start here. So Fahad said, what something your favorite pastime? Here we're going to add a verb to be. So which verb to be is suitable for pastime? What is your favorite pastime? What is your favorite pastime? So Tom said, board games. I guess then we are going to use this word or something related to this word so we can complete the sentence. Something, lots of them, but Scrabble is my favorite. So Scrabble, it's a name of a game, a name of a board game. So Tom is saying, board games. I guess I have lots of them, but Scrabble is my favorite. So here we have two spaces. Something, you, something, how to, then we have the word play it. So what are we going to do here? We're going to look at the hints and complete the conversation. So he said, do you know how to play it? Do you know how to play it? Do you remember when we in the unit 3, when we did reduce the words do and you together? Do you know how to play it? So here we have a reduction of these two words together. Do you know how to play it? So Fahad say, no, I don't. Tom said, well, then here, what are we going to add? Verb to be. Easy. I can something teach you sometime. So what are we going to add here? Well, it is easy. I can teach you sometime. Here, did we add S to the verb? No, because the subject here is I can. So we said if the subject is I, we're not going to add S to the verb. I can teach you sometime. Fahad, something prefer. This is a hint. Prefer. Something up to date like video games. I think video games, the hint is B, good for your mental health. And also the hint is B, a good way to get rid of stress. Now, let's take these hints and complete the conversation. I prefer something up to date, like video games. I think video games are, because of the hint here, we're going to add R because here we have S for video games. It's not only one video game. I think video games are good for your mental health, and they are a good way to get rid of stress. See? Now we're going to do the same thing here, taking a look at the hints and completing the conversation. Tom said, yeah, but some people, we have the word become. So the hint is become here, addicted to video games. So from the hint, we're going to write, yeah, but some people become addicted to video games. Now, They, something here, what is the hint? The hint is the word play. They play for many hours at one time. Well, that doesn't look so healthy, right? So this is what addiction means. So addicting, some people are being addicted to the game. They are playing for many hours. Now, what did Fahad say here? Well, the hint is the word know. I know people that play Scrabble for an entire afternoon. Sometimes my friend Mike, so my friend Mike, only one person, we have the hint here, the verb start. What are we going to add? Starts. We're adding S to the verb because Mike is one person. Sometimes my friend Mike starts a game with friends after lunch, and we have the hint is not finish until dinner time. So what are we going to do here? Doesn't finish. And he doesn't finish until dinner time. See? We took the hints in between the parentheses and we completed the conversation. Now, let's take a look at this one here. Make questions for the answers. We have the answer, but we want to form the question for these answers. We're going to read the answer and guess the question. So here we have the first one here. This is the question that we need to add. The answer is, that's Adnan. He's our neighbor. So we're asking about a person. For a person, which WH word are we going to use? If we're asking about a person. Who's that? Who's that? The answer is, that's Adnan. He's our neighbor. Now, let's take a look at the next one here. Here we have, my brother's a computer programmer. My brother's a computer programmer. So what can the question be? So here the question is going to be about a computer programmer. So we are going to use what? What does your brother do? My brother's a computer programmer. So we're asking about the job. The answer was, so here the job is a computer programmer. That's why we use the word what. What does your brother do? Now let's do the same thing with these examples. So here we have the answer. Maha wakes up early every day. Now what is the question that we can add here? So let's take a look. So Maha wakes up. Look at the verb, wakes up. Do you remember when we talked about adding S to the verb here for the simple present? We are adding S to the verb. If it's two parts, we're adding it to the first part here, like wakes up, get down, stand up. So Maha wakes up early every day. Now we want the question for Maha wakes up. So what are we going to add here? What does Maha do every day? What is the thing that she's doing every day? Maha wakes up early every day. Now let's take a look at the next one. Here we have, I usually study in the evening after school. So here the answer is in the evening. Now in the evening it's time. So which WH word are we going to use to ask about time? When? When do you study? When do you study? I usually study in the evening after school. So we asked about the time, and this is the answer, in the evening. Now, let's take a look at the next one here. We have no, I can't cook, but I know some really good restaurants. So here we have, no, I can't cook. So that means, what kind of question is it? It's a yes-no question. The answer is no, I can't cook. So what is the question going to look like? It's going to look like this. Do you know how to cook? Do you know how to cook? The answer is no. I can't cook. It's a thing that I don't know how to do, not my skill. No, I can't cook, but I know some really good restaurants. Now, let's take a look at the next here. What did we do in today's lesson? So we used simple present tense in the examples before, and we formed sentences with know how to. The skill, I know how to, that means I can do it. I can swim, I can read Spanish. These are skills I know how to do, I can do. Now, for your homework, what are you going to do? You are going to rewrite the sentences. Replace the frequency expressions in these sentences with adverbs of frequency. You're going to replace the frequency expressions with these adverbs. Seldom means rarely, often, sometimes, and usually. Let's read the sentences and take a look at the adverbs of frequency and the frequency expressions. The first one here, Khalid studies 3 times a week in the library. So we are going to change 3 times a week with some of these, one of these adverbs of frequency. The next one, Nawal doesn't walk to school every day. She doesn't walk to school every day. So we're going to replace with one of these adverbs. Number 3, my friend cleans his room once a year. Once a year. So which one are we going to use? Now, number 4, Hanan practices English with her friends almost every day. Almost every day. So you're going to replace the frequency expressions with seldom, often, sometimes, or usually. And we are going to check the answers in the next lesson. And thank you very much, my dear students. I'll see you in the next lesson. I will try to do the homework together.